Good morning, welcome back. This is Four Priests Brewery. I'm Andy, if you've not been before. Actually, this is Four Priests Brewery's tap room. The brewery's next door. Sorry, again, I apologise at the beginning of every video to say, sorry, it's been a while since the last one, but I genuinely feel guilty about it because I know a lot of you really interested in seeing how things are progressing, and it's just not been possible lately to pick up the camera and film a great deal. There's been way too much going on. As you may remember from previous videos, we've acquired the bar in Sandbach now. I'll show you some clips of that in a second because things are changing there too. It's rebranded now, so it's now a Four Priests operation, and it's been keeping us very busy. Customers are, the regulars and the locals that have been drinking in there for years have accepted us, and they can see that the work that we're doing. And I think a lot of new faces have started to appear there as well now, so it's consuming a lot of time. Obviously our beer's on sale there, so we're brewing a little bit more as well. That's kept me in here, and we're not blessed with the ability to have extensive staff. So if people are on holiday, which they're absolutely entitled to, or off sick, then Sarah and I need to cover those shifts. So again, that just sucks hours out of your week. It may come as no surprise to learn that as that started to take place, something had to give. Maybe a permanent change, maybe not. We're still working on the financial side, but I resigned from my day job with DigiKey, where I'd worked for the last 12 years. I loved every minute of it. Honestly, it was a great job. A lot of travel, a lot of opportunities to meet interesting people, and work around Europe, be paid for it. Was a real experience, and I'll always be thankful for DigiKey for giving me that opportunity. But after 12 years with this going on as well, it looks like on paper we can maybe make this work as a full-time income now. So it's taken us 3 or 4 years to get to this stage, but I've made the leap, resigned. I worked a notice period where I didn't really share with you guys what was going on, but I worked a notice period, and we're now done. So we'll see how it goes. We'll just reassess as the months go by, but right at the moment it looks like it was a sound decision. I think we're doing okay, and we'll keep checking in to make sure that financially it looks as sensible as it could be. This light's flicking on and off. Wait a minute. And I can't get through that way because it's full again. Hang on. Right, that's better. Yeah, it's been flicking on and off since we moved in, and I've not got the bravery to get up a ladder, whatever that is, 7 meters or something. Yeah, so thanks to DigiKey, and I've made a lot of really lifelong friends, I think, from working there, and we'll definitely be staying in touch. What that means is I've got 5 extra days a week to fill, and at the moment they're full. There's still no chance of a day off because we're in that transition period. There's work to do at the pub, there's work to do here. We're coming up to Christmas, so we need to have beer ready in cans, which we haven't had for quite some time. But so just keep your eyes on the website of Four Priests, on the shop there, and see what you can see. But we've got full tanks at the moment in there, and I'm brewing again now today to fill the gaps that we've got with beer. Before we go next door, you might be interested in this. This is the brewery software that we use. It's from brew.com, and it's quite widely used in the industry. There are other softwares are available, but we love this one. And here's all the batches that we've ever done. Just by coincidence, today is batch number 100, and it will be Divine Hibernation. Tomorrow we've got 9th of November, Murgy Straight. Monday we've got Most and Dragon, and then I've got 3 full fermenters at that point. The 2 bright tanks have already got Gingerbeard and Get Lucky in, so I've got to stop at that point because we've got nowhere to put any ale that we did brew. And then on the 22nd and 23rd of November we can brew Cross Stout and Get Lucky. We're just trying to get ahead of ourselves before things start to freeze, if you remember previously. But this software gives us a timeline, a schedule, so you can see here The brew system will be in use on the 8th, the 9th and the 10th, and those brews will go into fermenter 1, fermenter 2 and fermenter 3. And then once fermenter 1 is empty, we're going to put the cross stout in, and once fermenter 2 is, oh that's in the wrong area, once fermenter 2 is empty, we're going to get lucky in that. And then the bright tanks are here, so Murgy Straight will be going into tank 1 and Divine Hibernation into tank 2, and then once that's been packaged into kegs, Most and Dragon will go into tank 2 as well. We don't sell Most and Dragon in keg, but we do keg so that we can from keg, so that's the reason for that. But that's the plan, pretty much all the way up to Christmas. By the time we get to the 12th of December, everything should be out of the tanks and into cans, and then we've got a week or so before Christmas to really focus on the bar in Sandbach, honestly. We've got a tap room opening 27th, 28th, 29th, I think it is, if that's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Might be 28, 29, 30. Don't know what the dates are now, but it's the weekend in between Christmas and New Year. The tap room will be open as well, so could do with this space here just to make sure we're organised and prepped for that. Good evening. Welcome to the brewery. But we're not at the brewery, we're at Sandbach Station. Look.
Train to arrive at platform 2 is the...
And as you just heard, the next train to arrive is... Oh no, it's the other way. The next train to arrive on platform 1 is the train to Crewe, where we'll be changing to jump on the train to Blythe Bridge, sort of edge of Stoke-on-Trent, Staffordshire. 2 or 3 weeks ago I was contacted by someone you might follow. If you follow this channel, you love his channel, Richard at Wheatlow Brewery, to say, would I mind if you brewed Murgy Straight? And of course I don't mind.
Well, I was very surprised. I was home actually at the time, and an enthusiastic team of scientists from Glasgow University came, and could they look on the land? They were very excited. We were just amazed that such a thing could happen in our little corner of Staffordshire.
As you again possibly know, I share the recipe, sort of open sourced it on Brewfather, so if ever you fancy having a go, please be my guest. Anyway, Richard's decided to brew it. He's probably going to give it a comedy name, of course, as he usually does. And a couple of days ago I dropped a cask of the original Murgy Straight down to his place so it could settle, and this evening I'm heading down and we're going to do a side-by-side tasting, which you'll be able to watch on his channel. I won't steal the glory by duplicating what he's doing, so you can consider this video a two-parter, and the other part is on the link you'll find on the screen and in the comments. No train yet. They're often 5 or 6 minutes late here, so we'll see how... Oh no, there it is. I can see your lights. And we had a great time drinking Richard's super, I can't say it like he does, super. You'll have to go over there and watch. Super frothing ales. And rather too many of his frothing beverages were consumed, to the point where I'd paid 20 quid for a return train ticket, but missed my last train. I had to get an Uber back for £43. And then when I got home, I realised I'd lost my hat, my glasses, and the case off my AirPods. And almost all that stuff has now been retrieved from around Richard's shed, but I'm still missing the case off my AirPods, unfortunately. As I said, I'm not going to steal his thunder. Get yourself over to his channel to watch. It's the Murgy Straight Brew Day, followed by the tasting and some general beer conversations. About an hour. Links in the comments. Let me know what you think. And if you want even more Wheatlow, the Hop Edition podcast from yesterday, I'll put the link again in the comments below. Richard has caught the eye of the Hop Edition guys, and he's been participating in as an audience member on the podcasts, I think, for quite some time. But he was asked if he wanted to come on and share his story. So that was yesterday evening. It was the fastest passing 3 hours ever. Really entertaining stuff, a good laugh. And several more of Richard's beers were consumed by the 30 or so people that he was generous enough to send a box of beer out to. I think the number of viewers was probably the largest that they've ever had on that podcast. So it just shows there's a bit of an appetite for more Wheatlow. Frothing. Right, bits and bobs to do today. I'll show you what we're up to. I've got a few things going on. Let's take you in, show you in here first. Firstly, 10 beautiful kegs of Tegernsee Helles, all the way from Tegernsee, Bavaria, courtesy of Beer Brooker, who just dropped them off this morning. We're ripping through these here at the brewery and at the Sandbach pub as well. It's the only lager on tap that we have there, and that's because it's the best lager in the world. I've been retrieving some empties, ready for refilling from local pubs, bars and restaurants. Not so much these. We tend to get another use out of these, but only around the brewery. I fill them with line cleaner or water for rinsing lines and stuff. They're bugger to clean, so we don't bother. I've put in a little bit more heating now as well, above the door there. Apologies for the expanding foam, bit of a nightmare that. I'll cut that off later, but we've got a door air curtain, so we can technically, maybe, have the door open a little bit in the winter without losing all the heat. We've got the afterburner, which rips through 90 pounds of the gas every weekend when it's on full. So we're not going to use that so much this year. But what I have done now is we have had a 3-phase 18 kilowatt electric heater, which is there and can be positioned various places because it's got a flexible hose on it. It can be positioned various places around the brewery. But at the moment, we got it poking through the door here. And when we've got this other side of the door, oh yeah, new door. When we got it poking through the other side of the door, when we've got it poking through this, and that side of the door is closed, it heats this room up lovely. There's a little thermostat up there on the wall as well. Let me finger, there. Which is set to about 19 degrees, and it was definitely clicking in and out on quite a cold day. So that gives us a little bit more comfort for taproom visitors. And I think as we get into January, we're going to start opening up more often, more weekends. We weren't planning to do every weekend until spring, summer. We might rethink that because I think if we can keep it warm, then it's a good idea to open more often. Here we are looking at cans. Yes, it's true. Cans. I finally, because I've quit my day job, I finally got some time back. So I've been filling cans. So we've got Get Lucky. We've got Cross Stout. Not so many of those, but I've got a few cans left. There, another 3 boxes, 64 cans, I guess. I'm going to fill those with stout now and then take a trip on Monday to Staffordshire Brewery in Cheddleton near Leek and collect another probably 1,000 cans from there, and then we can crack on with the rest. Brewery side, in here we have some full tanks that have now also been dry hopped. So Divine Hibernation, Fermenter 1. We've got Moston Dragon, Fermenter 2. And we've got Murgy Straight, Fermenter 3. They're basically all done, finished. But I can't do anything with it apart from casket. I've got 2 bright tanks now, as you maybe have seen before. Conditioning tank 1, which was ginger beer, ginger beard, and still is. There's, I think, probably 5 or 6 kegs left in that at the moment. And then here in the Lunar Lander, we've got Get Lucky, and I think there's 4 kegs left in that. Whoa, mind the ladders. 4 kegs left in that. So the idea is we're not going to be selling it in keg particularly, but if I put it into kegs, then it's a sort of an intermediate storage for canning later. This one's now been filled, and we'll go over into the canning space in a little bit. You may have noticed this beautiful contraption. Let me show you. So, in keeping with the hillbilly engineering style that you've become accustomed to, the ghetto cask washer is almost ready to use. We were positioning the tanks on top of the sink there, but that means the sink's out of action. So our very good friend and Murgy Straight Uber fan, Alan Hall of the Middlewich parish, came to me a couple of weeks ago and said, I've retired now and I need something to do. And I said, how much, Alan? He said, nothing. I just need a project. I said, all right, make me something like this, and showed him a couple of photos of commercial cask washers, and then showed him what we were doing. And then he came back with this. So we've got basically 3 separate stations now. We've got one with a heating element, a drain in the corner with a plug, and then an inlet hole which basically goes off into the pump, straight down that stainless tube, into the hose, which is a temporary fix, but we'll sort that later, into the pump, then back up and through the spray nozzle. So that will allow us to pump hot caustic around the casks. This one is the rinser. So we've just got a drain, which will have a plug in or not. If we're just washing the casks out, we'll leave the plug out of that. And it's just a hose that's required, as long as we can get sufficient mains water pressure, which is another conversation that we need to have around here, because it's rubbish. And then this one, which is not connected to anything yet, this is going to be the peracetic acid wash as well. And I've actually put, so that the casks don't roll into each other, we've got a few little separators here, so when the cask is sitting on the end there, it doesn't roll, it kind of locks it into place. Now we've got this, it will also allow me to mount a a micro switch or some sort of optical switch across here to stop us turning that on when there's no cask present. And I'm going to do that and put it in the circuit along with the pump, because it's lethal, as you've heard before. So we'll introduce a proper safety feature to that very soon. I know I keep saying that, but now I can, because it's all on one trolley. It's on wheels. He's put it on casters for me, so we can whiz it around the building when we're not open to the public. I can shove it through in the tap room, and when we are, we can wheel it in here. And actually I can run it straight above the drain here, and it will, as you see, he's even plumbed the wastes together. There is an element of trying to cheat gravity with the angle of this thing, but it should work. So we've got 3 outlets on the drain. This is the low point here, so I have a funny feeling we're going to get peracetic acid collecting there, but we can shorten that piece and work that out. And then out there, so we can dump it into a bucket, or depending what it is, if we need to neutralise it, we can dump it into a bucket and deal with it there. If it's got a sensible pH, we can let it go straight into the drains. So thank you, Alan. This is mega. His welding's pretty good, mostly. And even if it wasn't, he's put that much paint on it, you'd never know anyway. But yeah, it's been a massive help, that. What I could do with next is a CIP trolley. I'll talk to him about that soon. But altogether, for all the steel, the wood, all the nuts and bolts and fasteners and stuff that he's done, all the waste fittings and everything, it was about 300 quid. And the plastic boxes and spray bowls we had already. So, you know, you're talking probably under 500 quid to build something like that for yourself. Once you've included another low-cost pump for the peracetic, about 500 quid, I would say, compared with 12 grand and upwards for a commercial stainless steel one. And yes, it's wood, but some of it's sacrificial, right? We expect that that's going to get rotted and get acid and caustic on it, and that's fine. We just put a new one on. Same with the ply. I think it's marine ply he's used at the bottom. And when it gets past its usable life, we'll just swap it for another couple of boards. And one day we might be able to afford a commercial one, but right now I've got better things to spend our money on. Right, let's do a bit of canning. Right, this is a new keg, first one out. I've been having some horrendous problems with over carbonation. As you can see, it continues. So we'll leave that one there a minute. I think what's been happening is when I'm dropping it into the kegs, obviously we're not filtering. I think there's a little bit of secondary fermentation taking place when they're sitting in the kegs for a long time. By a long time, I mean a month or two sometimes. When I'm canning directly, literally, if I drop one from the tank, bring it in there, fill the cans, it comes out beautifully. But as time goes on, they get more and more and more carbonated. There you go. That one's working now. What we do with these is we've got a little scale down here, and I can just double check. 452, that's perfect. One. We're going to top that one up. Now we know the foam. I think this time it's just a bit of foam in the line. Done. This is a full one. Whoever gets this, got an extra mouthful. Just check the weight. 464 millilitres / grams. It's not a direct comparison because alcohol weighs less than water, I think. Trying to work out the right carbonation level. If you're a regular follower, you'll know about a nightmare with carbonation over the years. It's another reason I don't get that thrilled about canning. But the challenge of how much carbonation starts back at the bright tank, and you know, you can download some pretty useful charts. There's one from Jolly Good Beer, who, although his business has stopped now, he's kept the downloads on his website, Jolly Good Beer, which gives you a chart showing gas pressure and temperature, and then the desired carbonation level that you want. So if you're looking for 2.8 volumes of CO2, which we probably are with this, then it'll tell you if your beer's at 4 degrees, this is how many PSI of top pressure you need to put on it. And it works very well. But only if you can control the temperature of your tank accurately enough. And I think we've been taking temperatures of the liquid in the tank incorrectly or at the wrong level with the thermo wells that we use. And in fact, in some cases, it's basically just the end of the inkbird taped to the side of the tank. So I think we've been off. I think we've been colder than we thought in the tanks, and then we're getting over carbonation. So this batch of stout that I'm doing now, every single keg that we tried to dispense has been foaming like crazy. I've tried it through the tap here. You can see this little dongle on the end, plugged in, and then we can use the flow restrictor to speed up and slow down the flow. Didn't work. Eventually what we've started to do is we're degassing the kegs over the course of a few days, let the top pressure out, and again and again and again. And after 4 or 5 attempts at degassing, you've knocked enough CO2 out of the liquid to be able to get it into cans. I'm deliberately going slow now because I'm talking to you and I don't want to make any mistakes, but on this little machine, by hand, I'm about 120 cans an hour if I've got both running, and I'm labeling and date coding at the same time. So 120 an hour. It's a useful way to spend an hour if we can get them on the website again, because we've not had anything since about April, I think, or May. And a lot of disappointed people out there contacting me regularly saying, when are your cans back in stock? Especially now it's coming up to Christmas. So the way this is looking right now is I've got plenty of stout and I've got plenty of Get Locky. If I can get that divine hibernation into the tank that's the remaining Lockies in at the moment, then we can get that carbonated into kegs and cans. We might be sort of hand to mouth as you're ordering them, fill them, ship them, but we'll make it work. I've not got anything else to do right now. And then obviously the Murgy Straight needs to go into can as well. So I'm expecting probably after the first week of December, we should have Get Locky, Cross Stout, Divine Hibernation and Murgy Straight all in can. We'll do single packs and some mixed packs. I'm probably going to take some of there was so many offers of so many pack styles with 2 of this and 3 of that in it. It was driving me around the bend, so I'm going to simplify that a little bit, I think. So single beers, yes, and probably pre-selected mixtures, 2, 2 and 2 kind of thing, like we've done before, but not so many options. I've not checked lately about shipping costs and things, but we'll get back in touch with Royal Mail because they seem to take the best care of us last time. And the price for up to 20 kilos was flat, so you could order, you know, anything from 6 to 24, and the shipping was pretty reasonable, I think. We have now gone over the VAT threshold, and you know what that means. So 20% of everything that we sell to you goes straight to His Majesty the King. We've swallowed some of that, but VAT is tricky here because there's very little that we buy in the brewery which has VAT on the input side. So all the grain, all the hops, it's all free of VAT. The rent's free of VAT. So we've got nothing to offset any of the output VAT. So unfortunately, we've got to pass a little bit of that on. But I think we still represent pretty good value considering, you know, the artisan nature of our super frothing ale. We'll try to keep it reasonable for you guys. Promise. Right, I'm going to put you over there out of the way and I'm going to rip through the rest of this keg. Every so often we put a plastic cup on instead of the can, and that allows us to have a little sip and just make sure we're still carbonated enough. Shouldn't change through the course of a keg, but ooh, that'll do.